In late 1960s, Britain, Austin built a car that tried to be ordinary, luxurious, practical, and secretly advanced all at once. The 3-liter had the face of a formal saloon, the heart of a cruiser, and a suspension system that could make mechanics stop and stare. Yet the public never knew what to make of it. Subscribe for more classic car stories. Today, we're digging into the hidden truths behind Austin's forgotten flagship, the Austin with Rolls-Royce blood. What made the Austin 3-liter so intriguing was that it did not feel like an ordinary Austin ambition. Behind its broad grille and formal shape was a car developed in an atmosphere where BMC's executive car dreams brushed against the prestige thinking of Rolls-Royce and Bentley in late 1960s Britain. That does not mean it was a cheap Rolls-Royce in disguise, but it does explain why the car carried itself with such unusual seriousness. It was designed to offer silence, space, and a sense of occasion rather than simple transport. For buyers, that meant a big Austin that tried to deliver upper-class calm without upper-class cost. And that tension is exactly what gives the 3-liter its strange charm today. It was a family badge carrying an almost aristocratic burden, the Landcrab that wanted to be a limousine. At first glance, the Austin 3-liter looked like a stately British saloon, but look a little longer and the disguise started to slip. Its central body structure owed a great deal to the Austin and Morris 1800. The famous Landcrab, which meant this expensive flagship shared its basic silhouette with a far humbler car. BMC stretched the idea with a longer nose, a longer boot, and more formal detailing, hoping to turn practical family car bones into something limousine-like. In practical terms, that saved development time and gave the car excellent cabin room. The problem was image. In a market where a Rover P5 or Triumph 2000 had to look special from every angle, the Austin sometimes looked like a Landcrab dressed for a wedding. That visual compromise helped define both its character and its downfall. The suspension that made mechanics stare. One of the most distinctive features of the Austin 3-liter sat where most owners never looked, underneath it. Instead of ordinary springs at the rear, it used an advanced hydrolastic arrangement developed from Alex Moulton's ideas, complete with self-leveling assistance to keep the car composed when loaded. In simple terms, fluid and pressure helped the big Austin ride with remarkable smoothness, even over poor British roads. The practical benefit was obvious the moment the wheels started turning. It floated in a way many conventional saloons of 1968 simply could not, giving passengers a calm, expensive-feeling journey. Yet that clever design also made the car seem more complicated and more mysterious than its rivals. Today, that unusual suspension is not just a technical footnote. It is one of the reasons the 3-liter still feels like a wonderfully over-engineered British what-if. The car launched before it was ready. Few things damage a car faster than arriving with doubts already attached to it. And the Austin 3-liter did exactly that. Shown in 1967, it reached the public carrying the sense that BMC was still making up its mind about what the car should be. Details changed, feedback was gathered, and early impressions suggested a flagship still searching for its final identity. In fairness, that process had a practical purpose. Refinements to styling and equipment were meant to make the car more convincing and more comfortable before it settled into proper production life. But emotionally, buyers could feel the hesitation. Instead of a bold, fully formed statement, the 3-liter sometimes came across as a car introduced by a company already nervous about its own creation. And in the executive market, uncertainty is never a good first impression. The V8 version they were too afraid to build. Perhaps the most tantalizing chapter in the Austin 3-liter story is the version that almost fixed everything. A V8-powered development car, linked to the Rover 3.5-liter engine and associated with Wolseley badging in prototype form, showed just how much stronger this big saloon could have been. The explanation is simple. The standard C-Series 6 gave smoothness, but not the effortless urge the heavy car really needed. A lighter, more powerful V8 would have transformed the way it moved, and, just as importantly, the way buyers perceived it. That hidden advantage could have turned a respectable cruiser into a genuine executive contender. Yet British Leyland politics and fears of overlapping with cars like the Rover P5B kept the idea from showrooms. So the Austin 3-liter was left remembered not only for what it was, but for what management would not let it become. Downton's secret cure for the lazy giant. If the factory version felt a little too relaxed, Downton engineering proved the Austin 3-liter had more spirit buried inside it. This respected tuning firm, famous for extracting real performance from BMC machinery, developed upgrades that sharpened the big Austin without ruining its civilized nature. Better breathing, revised tuning, and a more eager overall setup gave the car stronger response and a livelier character. That was the surprisingly practical solution the standard car had been waiting for. Instead of turning it into something crude, the Downton approach made the 3-liter feel more like the effortless express its looks had promised all along. It also revealed an important truth. The car's problem was never a lack of engineering potential. Its problem was that most people never saw the best version of it, the last big Austin that Britain forgot. By the time production ended in 1971, the Austin 3-liter had become something rare in British motoring history. A car too unusual to fit neatly into success or failure. It was the last big Austin saloon, and the last rear-wheel drive Austin, which gives it a quiet importance far beyond its reputation. Around 10,000 were built, a modest total for a flagship that was meant to stand tall in Britain's executive class. In practical terms, it offered space, comfort, and a ride quality many rivals would have envied. But history remembered sharper badges and cleaner success stories instead. That is why the 3-liter feels so poignant now. It was not just a forgotten saloon. It was the final expression of Austin trying to be grand, dignified, and ambitious in a British motor industry already changing around it. The Austin 3-liter was a car of contradictions. Clever but misunderstood, comfortable but awkwardly branded, ambitious but held back by the world around it. It remains one of Britain's most fascinating forgotten saloons. Click to watch more stories about classic British cars, and if you enjoyed this one, like, subscribe, and leave a comment with your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.